Hi, welcome back. We're here to do part 2 of the needle felted elf faces. We're working on this little guy right here, and in our first session we got as far as putting in the nose and the cheeks. So now we have to do the eyes and the ears, and we'll figure it from there. So here we are with just the nose and the cheeks all in, and of course, as usual, there's still lots of poking you can do, but we'll finesse that up towards the end. We're going to start with the eyes. I'm not a purist. We're going to use some glue. I'm using these little eyes. If you don't have little eyes, you can just use bits of black and put in and make your eyes with the black. So we're going to take, and I'm just going to make little tiny slits just above the cheekbone to either side of the nose, the top of the nose. Just little slits, enough to slide those eyes in a little bit. Then I'm going to poke them open just a titch. As I said, I'm not a purist. Many people will only use wool in their projects, but I developed their liking these little eyes. So we're just going to put a little bit of glue in the pocket. There's a little pocket in the back. We're just going to put a little bit of glue in there, just enough to hold it so I can work on it. Otherwise they keep sliding out. We're just going to fit that eye right in that little pocket and push it in. Hopefully it'll stay. It'd be good if it'll come out. There we go. Nope, not yet. There we go. I'm going to set that in on the other side, the other eye. You want to make sure you get them even. Kind of smush them in there a bit. Get your corners down where the little slits are. And push. There we go. So they're going to sit there and they're going to dry while they're setting up just a little bit. That one might be able to get in a little bit more. Sometimes you can pull the wool like over the edge a little bit. We'll let them sit just like that, and we're going to work on the ears. So for the ears, you're going to use your flesh. You're going to just take a little bit, and you're going to want it, again, so that they're even amounts. Tear what you have in half, pull it apart, and make them even. Fold your edges in a little bit, and then you're going to fold in a triangle form. You're going to fold one way, and then flip it and fold it the other way, fold it over the top, so you're going to get a nice little point on one end, and then you're going to just stab that together. Don't stab deep, you don't want it to stick to your sponge, and you want to get that little point at the end, and leave the other end with this fringe open, because that's how you're going to adhere it to the body of the face. You're going to just poke that and poke that. Turn it a little bit so you can get your point nice and tight. Now I poke some of this wool down inside just to make it a little firmer. And then a little more dimension on this side. And again, you still have all this little fringe left. So there's one. You tap that down a little bit more. You want it pretty flat. Then we're going to do the same to make a second one. Kind of fold it in half a little bit. Triangle, triangle backwards, triangle again. So we've got a little point there. You want them to be about the same size and same shape. Not always easy. But you can usually pretty much manipulate it with your needle to get them close. Just stab one side, pull it off, stab the other side. You want all those little fibers to adhere together. And get your point. Again, we're going to poke from the side and then on the other side. So we're getting that little point, and then just kind of run your needle down the side. Just round that point off. And on the inside, you've got your fringe left over to attach it to the face. Alright, I'm afraid these are going to... Well, the ear is going to go between the eye and where the mouth would be, about halfway back. So we're just going to open this just a little bit. So we have some on both sides. And then you're just going to poke all that fringe in. All the way around and on both sides. The little elf ears. And then when you add your hat or whatever, you can poke them through the hat or just leave them out. No, we don't want it sticking out like that. We want it to curve up. So we're going to hold it up and continue to poke. And again on both sides. We're going to add the other one to the other side. Getting them even is a tricky little thing. Just play with it until you feel like you've got it right. And again, it's going to go between the eye and the mouth. If you look in a mirror, that's where your ears are. Poke in all that little fringe. So it's nice and tight. And we're going to hold it up just a little bit and attach it. Once it's on, you can play with it and finesse it a little more till you get them exactly the same or close or how you like them. Like right. So now we have the two little ears. We're going to need a little more work, but in the essence of time, we're going to call it good for now. We're going to work on the eyes. So the eyes, we want to make the lower lid. And again, we're going to use the flesh. You don't need a lot. You're going to pull off a little bit. And you're going to make an eye, a lower lid. So to make that lower lid, you're going to roll it into a roll. And I like to use this little toothpick and roll it really tight. You can do this with a lot of things. You can use that to help add a chin. And you can just roll it a few times on that toothpick and then slide it off. This might be a little bit too big. And slide it off. You've got a little roll. Tap it a few times with your needle just to secure it. It depends on how wide you want it, how much fiber you're going to use. And then you're going to place it on either side of the eye, wrap it up and around. So you're going to wrap it up and around the eyeball. You're going to tap it. You're going to work on all the little ends. This is a little piece of grass or something in there. We'll get that out later. And just keep finessing it. So you want it to come to the corner or a little above of the eye and up around above the nose. So you start making it smaller and tighter. This is going to help hold the eye in place. And we're going to do the same thing with the other side. A little bit too much. There we go. And again, we're going to roll it around the toothpick. The skewer, a wooden knitting needle. If you need a larger roll, this works good for the smaller ones. Twist it a few times after you get all your wool on there to make it tight. Slide it off. Give it a few pokes. It depends on your preference, whether you like a big lower lid, wide, fat, or a thinner one. There's no right and wrong. It's just all about what you like. So again, we're going to wrap it around the eye. And poke it in place. Ideally, the glue should be dry by now, but we're playing with this. And wrap it around. And poke it down. I found these little eyes on Amazon. They come in different sizes. This is a 6mm. Yeah, I've moved it. Go up around this side. Tack all that extra fiber in. Nice and secure. So we have our lower lids. They're going to need a little more work, but we have time for that. And then the next thing is the upper lid. Again, you're going to use your flesh. You don't need a lot, like a little square. So we're going to make a little flat, there it is, piece like this. And we're going to take just another little bit of wool and roll it into like a little noodle, just a little flat, and set that in the center. Fold your other edge over, so now you're going to get a nice smooth edge, and poke that all down. Again, we're going to flip it, do the same on the other side. But now you've got that nice little edge on there. And then you've got all your fringe to attach to your face. So we're going to place this over and over. I'm going to tack it down. And then work all that little bit of fringe fiber in. A little tighter on this side, so pull it down just a little bit. And tack that down. These will end up being L's that I'm going to make into ornaments once I get all the faces done. You could make them on an armature if you wanted, where you're having a wire base that you're going to put the fiber around. And we'll do the other eyelid. Another little noodle to put inside. Not a lot, just a little bit, just enough to give it some dimension. Give her something to fold against. Put it right on that half line. Fold it in half. Needle it down. I like working with single needles the best. There are other tools. This one has 3 needles, which makes your work go much faster. But when I'm working on something small, I just like the one single. Again, this was a 38 star needle that I'm using. The higher your number goes, the more detail work you can do. So if you're using a 40, you can do a little bit finer work. A 36 would grab a little more fiber to push in, make your work go a little bit faster. We're going to do the same with this side. A little bit too much here. I'm going to pull this off. One thing you don't ever want to do is you don't ever want to cut your fiber with scissors. It kind of ruins your edges as far as blending them in. Put all those little fibers in. And tack it down all around the eye. You might like thinner lower lids, or thicker. Once they're in, you can also shadow them, give them a little shading underneath. I haven't done eyebrows yet on any of them because I'm not sure what color you want to use. You match it to your hair. Alright, so there you go. So our eyes are in place. Our ears are in place. A little piece of plant matter in there. You can pop that out. Now, there's different ways of doing mouths. On this little guy, I'm just doing a little bit of red. You can do lips by doing that same technique where you're rolling, and you can end up with lips. And you fill in the background first with a little bit of dark fiber, and then use the same little rolls, and you can make lips out of that. I'm just going to use a little tiny bit of red. Make it into a little ball just by twirling it in my fingers. That's probably a little bit too much. One good thing about felting is you can add a little, take a little away. If it's not big enough, you can add more. Like right now, I think he needs a chin. We didn't give him much of a chin, and we can still do that. So I'm just going to give him just a little red mouth. Now, if you wanted to add a bit of a chin, you can do the same thing by rolling a little bit of the fiber into a little roll. You could do this around a skewer. Just make it, roll it, place it underneath, and get it even. And again, you're just going to needle it in. One important thing about using your felting needles, when you're not using them, you should always put them back into your foam or your sponge. Because they break easily. You don't want anybody to step on one. I'm giving them a little chin here. Blend it in pretty good and tighten it down. And again, the more you stab your wool, the finer it will get, the more the fibers will mesh together and the smoother it will look. So for right now, he's looking okay. Needs a lot more needling, but there you go. We have a little face. Again, you can use a little bit of darker color to make shadows on the face, make age lines. Now, I like to use a little bit of blush to give him a little color in his face. I use a Q-tip and a little bit of blush. And just rub a little bit on the cheeks. It makes a big difference. It makes it stand out. Sometimes I'll run a little down the nose. And there you go. And then we have our little elf head. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed. We'll try something else next time.